In the Chapel, by Wintercrow. Twilight Sparkle and Princess Cadance stand in the chapel in Canterlot Castle. The chapel is deserted, save for Chrysalis, Queen of the Changelings, and her thrall, Shining Armor, brother to Twilight Sparkle and captain of the Canterlot Royal Guard. Let my brother go. Chrysalis is sucking on Shining Armor's horn, absorbing the power of his love for Cadance. Shining Armor's horn leaves her mouth with a pop. He crumples to the ground. So does Cadance. Twilight looks helplessly at her brother, then down to Cadance. What have you done to them? Oh, I've just drained them of their love. Their bond was so strong, that I didn't even need to control both of them to drink it all up. Twilight is furious. You can't possibly even know what love is, and yet do something like this. I bet you are so twisted, that you can't even feel love. No wonder you treat people so badly. You're probably miserable. You're a monster. Chrysalis spreads her wings and rushes at Twilight. In an instant she has knocked the small pony on her back, and is standing over her. She is tall and imposing. God. She stomps on Twilight's chest with her front hoof, knocking the wind out of her. Crack. She strikes her across the snout, chipping a tooth, and cutting her lip. Chrysalis looks down at Twilight. Apologize. What? Apologize to me. Twilight is bruised and trembling. She didn't expect this so quickly. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said. Chrysalis lowers her head, putting her face close to Twilight's. She cocks her head to the side. What's that? Speak louder. Twilight gulps with anxiety. I'm sorry. Chrysalis stares at Twilight for a moment, betraying no emotion. Then, she speaks. Kiss me. Do it. Twilight submits, and weakly lifts her head towards her attacker. She raises her arms around Chrysalis's neck, embracing her. The queen mashes her lips against Twilight's, and her tongue snakes down the pony's throat, choking her. Twilight's eyes widen at the sudden invasion, but she doesn't resist, and she tries her best not to gag. She wants to please the queen. Anything Chrysalis wants is now hers. The queen's tongue retreats, and as she pulls away from Twilight, a long viscous strand of green saliva trailing from one mouth to the other stretches and breaks. A bubble of mucus bursts from Twilight's left nostril, and her mouth hangs open. Chrysalis gives a short, derisive laugh. You see, I didn't even need to use my magic to dominate you. She spits in Twilight's eye. Twilight cringes, but doesn't otherwise react. Chrysalis stands over her prey, observing every detail of her broken state. She stares into Twilight's big watery purple eyes and enjoys her triumph. It was easy. It was so easy. Minutes pass. Neither moves. It is only now that Twilight realizes how frightened she is. Twilight forces a smile, struggling to appear friendly despite the humiliation. She defers to the queen's strength. My queen, she stammers, I've been studying the magic of friendship now for almost 2 years. If you let me go, I could teach you, and you could be happy without taking the happiness of others. Just let me go home. Chrysalis glares at Twilight with contempt, but her expression slowly melts into a toothy grin. All right, I've decided. The wave of relief makes Twilight giddy. Oh, thank you. You won't regret this. You'll see how much better it is when. Chrysalis bursts out laughing, throwing her head back in a long arc. She looks down at Twilight, lying on the floor, pathetic and confused. I'm not going to let you go. But you just said, I'm going to eat you. A primal terror grips Twilight as the words enter her mind. She is paralyzed with fear. Her instincts are shouting at her, pushing out all rational thought. Run, run. This is a predator, you must run. She is strong, and you are weak, and you must run. But she can't. I've decided on what's going to happen to you. Chrysalis puts her head close to Twilight's, her translucent alien hair pooling on the floor around Twilight's face and shoulders. She whispers to her, I want you to think about how it's going to feel. I want you to think about how it's going to feel as my teeth scrape over your chest, as you slide down my throat and leave your world behind. I want you to think about what it will be like to hear my heart beat all around you, to know that I have consumed you completely. I want you to think about how your whole life has been a prelude to becoming a meal for me, a meal that I don't even need. all of your studying, all of your friendships, all of your adventures, all of it, just so that I could use you up. Use up your body for nourishment. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it so much. I'm going to enjoy destroying you. I want you to think about how you're going to die for my sexual pleasure. Chrysalis sees the fear in Twilight's eyes, and it excites her. Her whole body is shaking as the changeling queen uses her magic to lift her into the air and stretch out her legs behind and in front of her, making her easier to swallow. She looks Twilight in the eyes one last time. I want you to know that I'm going to keep you alive with my magic. I want to feel you struggle in my gut as your final moments pass away. I want you to beg for death. The best part of all of this is that you don't get to choose when you die. I decide, not you. Her demeanor changes abruptly to one of sympathy, and she kisses Twilight tenderly on the mouth. The pony reciprocates in a desperate attempt to appease her captor. Maybe she's changed her mind, thinks Twilight. Maybe she likes me now. Maybe she does want to learn about friendship after all. Maybe everything is going to be alright. It's time. I'm going to take you now. Chrysalis opens her mouth. It stretches wider and wider. Her lower jaw splits in two, revealing a pair of webbed mandibles. She wraps her long tongue around Twilight's front legs as she draws her into her maw. Twilight's hooves hit the back of her throat and she swallows. Twilight is openly sobbing, tears and mucus streaming down her face and trickling into her mouth. She couldn't save her brother, she couldn't save herself. The changelings have overrun Canterlot and her society is doomed. The queen's fangs press against her head, behind her horn. She has Twilight completely within her power. The unicorn's magic is useless. She throws her head back and gulps, and Twilight is drawn further into her gullet. Twilight thinks of the friends she will never see again, and the feelings those memories evoke are absorbed by the queen. Soon Twilight can't even remember their names. The queen's mandibles join together and reform her lower jaw. Her fangs scrape against Twilight's soft belly, raising droplets of blood. She suddenly bites down. Her fangs puncture the pony's flesh, and a muffled cry comes from deep in the queen's throat. Only Twilight's hind legs and tail remain in the world outside of Chrysalis. One more gulp, and the jaw snaps shut. Twilight is nothing but a bulge in the queen's long neck. Peristalsis does the rest of the work, and the queen's glimmering tail midsection expands to accept the defeated pony. Twilight's heart is racing. She did it. She ate her. She's inside her stomach. To the rest of the world, she's nothing but a changeling's swollen belly. Twilight's eyes dart left and right looking for anything that might aid in an escape, in any possible way out. There is nothing. Then the acid comes. It comes in through the stomach walls, squirting in long arcing streams from glands embedded in the flesh. It hits Twilight from all directions, soaking her coat and tail and face. She screams. She screams and screams and screams as the acid seeps into her eyes, despite her tightly shut lids, burning away the inside of the lids, and dissolving the cornea. She screams as her hooves bubble into gelatin, and melt away into the soup. She screams as her beautiful multicolored mane falls out in clumps as the acid eats away at the roots. She is naked, and screaming and in so much pain. She thrashes and bucks wildly, but the walls of the stomach are pliable and strong. She slips and rolls over, getting a mouthful of violent acid. Her screams bubble through as the vile broth chokes her, burns her tongue, burns her throat. She heaves, her face scrunches up, and she vomits. She screams, convulses, and vomits again. She's been eaten alive. She is entirely inside the body of a superior creature. She has lost, utterly. She silently begs for a death that will not come. She slumps into the acid, which eats away at her belly. Her soft, sticky intestines spill out and rapidly dissolve. Her world shifts, but she can't sense the movement. There is a noise, a wet, crunching, snapping noise. It might as well be a million miles away. It is outside. She cannot go there. It is beyond her existence. There is a soft splash, and she feels a large object press against the side of her face. She opens her eyes and turns toward it. It is the head of her brother. The stump of his neck is ragged, and his blood freely mixes with the pool of acid and bile in the pit of the stomach. Twilight emits a deep and mournful wail. you. No ho ho. Why? This final insult is too much to bear. The death of her brother has broken her will. Please. Please just let me die. Please. The walls of her prison shudder as a long, loud burp echoes all around her. In a distant past which she can barely remember, this would have signaled that Spike had just sent a letter to her mentor, Princess Celestia. Now it signals only the end of her life. The air rushes out of the stomach and the walls close in around her. Her life is over now. Twilight is gone.
That's all, Zipsters! Like and subscribe.